Hey YouTubers, it's Steve here with RV Site to Site. Renee's not going to be with us on this video, but she'll probably show up on one of the next ones. But I wanted to talk to you today, especially to the RV newbies, the ones who have just bought an RV. I don't care if it's used or new, but some of the same things are going to apply, and you're going to need to have certain things. And so let's roll this intro and we'll get right into it. Okay, here's the deal, and this is what made me want to do this video. Back a few months ago, I pulled into the Goose Creek State Park, and actually I went there to just kind of preview it, and so I was sitting in the parking lot at the visitor center, and this couple drove up. Well, the visitor center was closed, so they pulled in there and they had an RV behind them, and they asked me, how do you check in? I don't know if they thought I was with the park or something, and so I thought, well, I'll try to explain this to them. I said, well, you just go down here and you see the host and check in. Have you got a site reserved? And they said yes. And I said, well, it's too early to check in for that particular site. And so anyway, I told them the process of checking in, and I said, have you been here before? And they said, no, actually this is our very first RV. We picked it up just about 3 or 4 hours ago from an individual, and it's used, and we don't know the first thing about RVing. And so I tried to explain to them what RVers would need to do about the sewer hose and different things about hooking up and leveling and all this stuff. I wish I had a course or a booklet I could have given them to show them how to set up, because they were absolutely brand new. And so in this video, I'm going to show you some of the things you're going to need. Alright, one of the first things that you're going to need is leveling blocks. When you pull into a campsite, most of those are not level, and so you're going to need leveling blocks, and here's the kind that I use. These are leveling chocks, and these things are a lifesaver. You can use 2x8s or 2x6s or whatever you want to stack them, and they make Lego type blocks to do it. But the thing that I like about this is this tire is basically up to 2 to 4 inches. You can level your trailer side to side, and again, I use these X chocks right here to lock my wheels. But once I get it up here, now I'm going to tell you, never unhook until you have all the chocks in place, and then when you do unhook, make sure you keep your chains hooked up, because I backed up too far, had the chocks too far back, and then when my hitch came loose, my trailer rolled backwards. I didn't have the chocks in here. I thought I was on level ground, and boy, I'm so glad that my chains were connected, because I was parking at home, and that's where I'm at right now, and you see down the hill here is where my RV would have ended up. It would have been extensive damage, and I am so glad that I had those chains connected. Alright, not only are you going to need that, but you're going to need stabilizing blocks. Blocks for your stabilizers or your chocks, your jacks or scissor jacks, and you're going to need those to put down on the ground. Most places do not have solid surfaces, or not paved, most of them, and they have either gravel or dirt, and so you have to have something to spread out that weight distribution by a board or a block. You're probably going to leave, whether you have this kind right here or you have stabilizers. I've got both on this. I don't particularly like the stabilizer jack, so I installed these scissor jacks on here. But in unlevel situations, usually in most situations, you're going to need to add some blocks. I prefer to use wood blocks. They're cheap and they're easy to carry around, and so this is the kind that I like to use. Now this might not be in order, but you're going to need a black tank sanitizer, and so I'm going to show you what we use. All right, now most of us are going to use the bathroom on a regular basis, and so you're going to need something. I'll tell you, if you don't use the right product in these things, it's going to smell. It's a natural part of life that we use the bathroom, and so I personally like this Happy Camper. I've been RVing for years, and I've had 8 RVs. And once I've tried everything from Walmart and all different places that you can order from to get it from the RV dealerships and things like that, but I have never found anything as effective as this Happy Camper. So I highly recommend you get this, and it comes with a little scoop in here. I've already treated mine, so I won't do it again. You put about 2 scoops in a 40-gallon tank to 60-gallon tank. Mine's 60. And so I use about 2.5 in this, and I'm telling you, it smells just as fresh in here as it can. This is Happy Camper, and you need to use this in your RV. Now, if the campground has some hookups, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a water hose and a filter. I prefer a filter, and something to control the pressure. It's amazing how much difference the pressures are in these different campgrounds. So let me show you what I use. All right, you got to have a water hose, and I personally like this Zero water hose because you can roll it up so tight it doesn't kink. It works really, really well. And also, I have a filter here. I like to run it through a filter. You don't have to, but I really like to. The first thing I do is I connect a filter onto the water thing. Now this right here is a 50-pound regulator, so you don't bust your interior hoses in your RV. And so I put this on first. I screw this onto the tap or the spigot at the campground, and then I put this on here like this, and then I connect it to my RV. But before I do that, I want to show you with another water hose. I always like to run some water through the hose to make sure I flush out any dirt or anything like that before I hook up anything to my RV. All right, you're going to need also some rubber gloves. Before I handle any sewer lines or anything like that, I always put on these rubber gloves, because now make sure that you do your water hose before you do any sewer lines, because sewer lines really ought to be about the last thing you do, so that you don't cross-contaminate anything. But I use these, and of course mine hands are really big, so I use the extra large. And then I actually have 2 sewer hoses. This one came with the RV. It's a 10-foot hose, and that's fine for most cases. And then of course you're going to probably need this contraption right here or something like it. This goes in the sewer thing, and the way I do this, I put this in the sewer drop or hookup first, then I connect my hose to it, or I may just connect the hose to this by twisting it like this, and then I drop it in, and then before I open the valve for the sewer, I put the hose underneath there to make sure I catch any little bit of spillage that may have leaked through the valve, and it does happen, so you might as well get used to it. In my case, I installed an extra sewer hose here. This one right here is, you can look back on one of my videos to see how I installed this, but this actually is 20 feet. So I actually have a total of 30 feet of sewer line, and you know, not often do you need it, but you never know. So it's always best to have that. So before you handle anything sewer-wise, make sure you're wearing gloves. And don't handle anything after that. I always keep some sanitizer in my storage bay so I can use that after I mess with the sewer hose. It's just a part of life with these sewer hoses. I hate it. I don't like it. It's the least thing that I like about RVing, but it's got to be done because all of us have to do number 2. All right, and then you're going to need, of course, your power line, your power cord that comes with the RV. It's usually going to be a 50 amp cord, or it's going to be a 30 amp cord. All right, of course, with your RV, you're going to get this. This is going to come with it, but you may need an extension, and this is a 50 amp hose right here, or 50 amp cord right here. And so not every campground has 50 amps, and certainly generators usually don't have a 50 amp hookup. So you'll need what's called a dog bone. I'll show you a picture of it here. And you'll need that to convert down to 30 amps, because most campgrounds have at least 30 amp hookups. And so you'll probably need that dog bone to convert the other end of this from 50 amp down to 30 amp. Then I highly recommend you have a bag of tools. And let's go through the tool bag that I have. All right, the final thing I want to show you is a tool bag. Everybody needs a tool bag. Now, I got this little Black & Decker bag. Actually, I can't remember where I got it. I'll see if it's on Amazon. I probably bought it on Amazon. I buy most things on Amazon. I actually lost the little tab zipper here, so I put this little key ring on there, and it works just as well. But you need to have certain things. You're going to always need a hammer. Now, this isn't a very big hammer. But it works. And sometimes if you're going to hang pictures and stuff like that, you need to have this stud finder. It comes in real handy if you're going to put something up permanently. I personally use command tape. This has a bunch of drill bits in it, and I've got it in a Ziploc bag. I hope you can see that. But pretty much everything up to about a 3/8, and even has some wood bits in there. And it has also a bunch of little wrenches that comes in real handy. A level. Now that's another thing. When you level up your RV, you're going to definitely need a level. But now this is nice, and it's pretty accurate, but I prefer either a 2-foot or a 4-foot level. Now, the way you can check a level to see if it's accurate or not, you put it on something, get it to level right there between the 2 marks. And then if you find it's level that way, turn it over this way. And if it's not right between those 2 marks, you've got a bad level. So make sure that your level is accurate. I always keep a flashlight with me. This is a super bright flashlight. And they make a lot of these days. These are really, really tough. This right here is a driver that takes little inserts. You can put all kinds of drives in there, like hex drives, or flathead screwdriver drives, or a Phillips screwdriver drives. And also, this little drill here is not very strong, but it does the job. And so highly recommend. It's easily charged. It comes with a charger. And so then there's all kinds of little things in here I could show you. You know, here's a cutter, and a wrench, a little crescent wrench that you can easily adjust. And it doesn't open up very big, but usually it's enough. Then there's a socket wrench. There's several sockets in here. And I could go through all the stuff. These are drivers right here. Here's some sockets right here. Here's some more drivers and some nut drivers. This little bag has just about everything, and it's really quite amazing. And so, I mean, the amount of drivers it has is absolutely amazing. These right here are square drivers. In RVs, you'll find that a lot of the screws use these square type holes in them, and so they don't work with a Phillips or other kind. And then, of course, you got a pair of needle nose pliers, and a pair of regular pliers that you can expand those, obviously. And let's see, that doesn't come with it. That comes with it. That's a little tape measure. You use that on a pretty regular basis in an RV. And here's the charger for the drill. And so that's about it. I think it has this is one of the knives that comes with it. Knives, whatever. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you run it out here and this blade is dull, you pull this end off right here and you use it to break off to the next blade. These blades are marked here to break off, so when you wear this one out, you just extend it a little bit and break off the next one. So it's kind of handy to have around, and it's easy to store back here at the end. So yeah, that comes in handy. A lot of people don't know that little end there comes with it. So anyhow, highly recommend that you have a tool bag. I have some major tools in my truck, big tools. I keep these in the RV because you just never know. Let me tell you, if you just bought an RV, you might as well get very familiar with it because you're going to be fixing things. It's just something that about RVs, when you're hauling a piece of cardboard held together with staples down the road at 60 miles an hour, it's going to need some maintenance, and so you're going to need a tool bag for sure. And you're going to need a headlamp. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but this one is the one that I really like. Now, you and I know that most bad things happen at night, and just when you least expect it, you may lose power to your RV, or a fuse may blow, or the circuit breaker may trip. There's all kinds of reasons, but most times, look, I try to get at campgrounds before dark. I highly recommend you do, but I cannot tell you how many times that I have been delayed and ended up at a campground way late. And this right here comes in real handy. Most things you need, you're going to need two hands to do whatever you need to do. And so this right here comes in so handy. Right here, it's very bright, it's very inexpensive, and it lasts a long time. So I would highly recommend you get one of these. As I mentioned, on your water hose, you're going to need, I prefer a pressure regulator and a filter. And from time to time, you'll have to change the filter. So that's 10 things that newbies are going to need. And probably more, but I wanted to limit it to 10. If you're going to do some RVing, then I suggest that you get familiar with your RV before you go to a park. Practice hooking up things, practice making sure that you know how to level it, make sure that you know how to unhook and hook. There are so many things to learn about an RV, but once you get familiar with those things, it's really fun. I actually don't mind hooking up and unhooking when we go to RV parks. So we try to stay at least 3 days because we don't want to move every day. But over the years, you get used to it, and it's really, really a fun thing to do. So if you're a newbie, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Consider sharing this video with somebody else if you know any other RVers out there who are newbies. And if you don't mind, please subscribe, because we have all kinds of videos coming up on campgrounds and how to do things. And well, we've been doing this for a long time, and so we want to help as many people as we possibly can. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.